Caroline.
Hello. How's it going? Wait, hi.
We're off to a
This
good
is
start.
Tia,
And Sharon.
and we are going to be interviewing the interviewers. So I don't know if you've noticed, but Lee and Maka have been here at Startup Weekend on the Gold Coast, and also you were last weekend
Yes.
at Startup Weekend
Sunshine Coast.
Sunshine Coast. So we thought that we would take an opportunity to interview them. We're going to start off with Lee.
Oh no.
Lee, how many Startup Weekends have you been to?
One.
One
Yeah.
that you participated in?
No, never participated in one.
You've never participated?
Ever in my life.
Really?
Do you want to? Now that you've picked up the energy, would you like to?
Well, I'm participating in one now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right here.
Awesome.
I'm just playing a different role.
Excellent. And what has been your favorite aspect? I can't get this whole microphone thing right. What has been your favorite thing about the Startup Weekend so far?
Just all the young people, what they're doing, and the way they're working through the problems, and it's just inspiring. It's fantastic. So, and what we're trying to do is give them a voice and put a spotlight on some of that and get some of those stories out there, instead of lots of old people sitting in a room deciding about their future. We give them a chance to have a voice in that.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Maka, I saw your wonderful hair and the interviews that you were doing at Startup Weekend Sunshine Coast.
Yep.
What was your favorite thing about it?
I think it was the amount of people so energized about validation. Like the whole topic for the whole weekend was just validating, and like everyone was out. Like some of the startups went out at night and clubbing and validating their market, and then people were out during the day, surveys going up on the internet, sharing with friends. It was just like continuous, like everyone was doing, no talking, just do. So
Awesome.
That was the awesome thing about last weekend.
Sorry. See, I can't do it.
Actually, I'm interested to know, Lee, seeing as we have got so many young people here, like how old were you when you first sort of started playing around with your first business, and was it successful? Did you validate well?
I didn't have validation, MVPs, lean. I had nothing. My first business was really a news agency. So I bought a news agency with the help of my family when I was 18, and I ran that for 5 years in a little town up in the northwest in Kununurra. And that was a booming little town. It was Argyle Diamonds that just moved into the town at the time, and there was tourism and Lake Argyle and the Ord River scheme, and everything was really happening up there. And I left school a little bit like Maka, and decided that I wanted to go into my own business. So at school I was always doing deals and swap cards, footy cards, anything I could do to sort of hustle and sell something. And then I spent some time when I first dropped out of school doing door-to-door sales. So that was sort of really good grounding in sales for me. And then I started selling computers in 1985. So I sold sort of the first early word processors. We were selling. We were selling. I always laugh about this, but we were selling discs at the time, and I tell you no lie, the disc was like that, and they were about $1,200 each that you would sell the disc for. And then I went through that sort of period where we went to floppies. We went to 5 1/4 and 7.5 inch, I think it was. And then I visited my folks up in Kununurra, who Dad had moved up there at Argyle, and I saw the town and just thought, wow, this is amazing. So I spent the next 6 years in that town, started a car dealership in conjunction with a Holden dealership in Darwin, and then I started a music band promotion company because there was no entertainment coming through, so I started up Outback Entertainment, and then the next 5 or 6 years we toured bands from Darwin down the coast to Perth, and we did heaps of bands, Paul Kelly, Ian Moss, Kate Sobrano, all the ones that
Nice.
we
Have you
would
maintained
remember.
those friendships?
Some of
call them in for some Startup Weekend
Not,
entertainment? or?
not really. Look, some of them I have. Some of the people in and around the industry, sort of maybe a few guys that I still sort of hang out with, and I've still got some connections in that industry. And then, that was the sort of the beginning for me. That was my frontier territory proving ground, if you like.
Awesome. Maka, what was your first business?
So 14 years old, eBay store, and selling to classmates in school. So buying products from China, and just when a new phone came out, iPhone cases were in stock, selling them for double the margin type thing. and then that developed into building relationships with the factory, and then turning that into a business. So it was sort of like a way to make money without having a part-time job, and then it turned into an entrepreneurial business. So that's where I started. I'm 18 now. Yeah.
You're 18, are you sure?
Yeah.
So, I know you guys are doing some amazing jobs at really going out and interviewing people, and you're super passionate about getting the stories out. What has been your favorite story so far that you have heard from someone, or what's been your favorite interview? From Myriad, Startup Weekend, Gold Coast, all the other stuff that you guys have been doing, what has been your favorite one? We'll start with you, Lee.
Well, the one that resonated with me was Macca. Because
That's it, recruited.
you're recruited. Mainly because I just saw a lot of me in him when I was his age, and there was school wasn't for me. There was no path for me to go on. So I was sort of considered to be a bit of an outlier. I think maybe they thought I was dyslexic. I'm not, but and I thought
sure.
Sometimes I thought I might have been, but. So I see people like Macca, and I see a lot of other young people that typically I see that they don't fit into the mould of going to school and university, and that tends to lead to a corporate style life, and that's not what they want. So where do they go? Where's the path for them, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to create a path for them, and more importantly, legitimise it, that it's okay. And for mum and dad to understand it's a cool path to take. It's legitimate. It is an option. It's not just my son's dropping out of school and God, he's going to be a bum for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and it's no less risky than taking the
Working for
university
Ansett.
path these days. Yeah.
Right, look what happened there. So there's this sort of false sense of security that I've got a job, and that everything's going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm sort of, I guess that's what my passion is to try and open up that pathway, help legitimise it, and say that it's a good pathway to take. It can be tough, right?
Yeah.
I'm 50 this year, so I've been doing it 32 years. And I feel it.
Come
and
on.
my wife feels it.
You don't look an ascent over 35.
Oh,
darling.
yes, thank you very much. You're very kind. So that's for me, it's like I just know what I went through, the ups and downs. There can be some downs, the downs can be down, and the ups can be up. And if I can do something to sort of help smooth that path, make it a bit easier, stop people from making some of the silly mistakes that I made, or then that's I think if I help one person, it's good, right?
Awesome. That's all great. Thank you, Lee. Macca, what was your standout interview that you had, and why?
Oh, I think all of them are great. All of them got great stories. Everyone has a unique story. But I like to sort of connect with the youth a little bit more. And at Startup Weekend Youth, there's a bunch of kids there already, well, not kids, students there doing stuff already. So, so from Snapchat filters, finding ways to leverage that, and connecting with events and brands, and getting out there and selling already. I couldn't really pick one, but all the kids that are hustling out there already is probably my favorite story.
Awesome, thank you. And one more question, and Chaz, it's your turn. The question we talked about earlier.
We've had some preloaded questions.
I actually threw out a few, but I'm going to go with, if there was a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
You know yours, do you? Wow, that's an interesting question. I would have. I'm just going to. Bob Marley, Could You Be Loved?
Awesome.
That would be it for me. Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
Very chill.
Yeah, very good. Macca?
Mine's Legendary by Wesley Arms. I think that's the band.
How does that go?
No, I'm not singing.
Come on!
I'll get the guitar and you can sing.
Basically, it's just legend. We're going to be legends all over, and lyrical words and all that.
Music, lyrical
music.
stuff. Cool.
But yeah, Legendary.
And if there's one takeaway, one thing that you learned from what you've been doing so far, what would be one thing that you've learned from what you've been doing so far?
In terms of the activity, the work we're doing around the
with Beach City. Yeah. What's one thing you've learned so far?
That there's one thing I've learned. Am I allowed to be controversial?
Lee.
Oh, that's right. I just don't think the way that we're trying to do it now is going to work in the future because things have dramatically changed. So my big observation is that since I got involved in the web and the internet from 1992 to now, 25 years ago, I've seen the evolution of the early stage computing through to the web, the consumer web, then the enterprise, the cloud, and now into the proliferation of mobile, and then the fragmentation of the media markets with social media and where that's going. That's where they are, that's where they're learning, that's where they're sharing, that's where we need to be. That's my takeout.
Awesome, that's a really good takeout. Thank you. Micah, what about you?
I can't remember what I was going to say.
Sorry, I took a little too long for my age.
What Lee said.
One takeaway that you had.
Yeah. From Beach City, I think just having a go. Like, I still don't even know what I'm doing with the live stream off the cuff stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea is that I know I'm going to learn something along the way. So always learning, and having a good laugh along the way as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I got asked a fantastic question. Are you giving yourself permission to fail? I think that is such a great question to ask. Are you giving yourself permission to experiment and to fail? And I think that that's like a massive theme. So thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I did actually have one. So I know you've been to a couple of startup weekends. You get to feel the momentum that kind of grows and the sort of excitement around innovation that happens here. And so I guess I'm interested to know, how do you think we keep that going every day? When it's not an event, how do we keep momentum and how do we keep building the innovation ecosystem here on the Gold Coast? How do we keep people excited? How do we keep them engaged? Have you got any thoughts around that?
Awesome. I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Build a family.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Entrepreneurial family. Everyone is meant to be collaborating, sharing, not being afraid to, introduce to each other. You just got to, build that relationship. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. And once you have that relationship, then it just all flows.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Lee?
I think my thing I keep banging on about is building capability, but it's got to be broad-based capability. These events are great and they're great for community, but it's limited to the amount of people that can get into this room. It's confined by geographics, locations. So 101 business canvas is how do we scale, and the question for me is how do you scale it? And for my mind, you scale it through social media channels, you make it bite-sized chunks, and you start to disseminate information and education that way. That's how I would say. And the second part is how do we build efficient networks? So, they're key to making successful ecosystems. And, we were talking about this yesterday, in Australia there's this I'm not going to tell you my idea in case you might steal it. And there's almost this cautious thing going on, whereas when you go over to the valley and places like that, they're just like, let's sit down, let's chew the fat, have a coffee, talk it out, see what we can come out. Actually, you know what, I'm no good for you, but I can introduce you to 5 more people that might be able to help you. Yeah. So I think that's a cultural thing. That's going to take a long time to change. But we just have to keep talking about it. We have to keep changing it, and we have to really galvanise around that. And if we can all galvanise around that, then we can change it.
Awesome. Those are great questions and great answers. Thank
I
you.
love the family. Uncle Lee.
We are family. Okay, all right.
We're going to do a dance.
We gotta do
and then we're going to do a shaka. We're going to do a shaka.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for being interviewed by us.
Thanks for interviewing. It's fun.
Awesome.
Check out the rest of the videos that they're doing at Startup Weekend. It's going to be awesome.
At Beach City Live.
Beach City Live.
Right.
Don't forget, follow us. Bye.